Hello and welcome to a post-match special Rangers review with myself, Jonny McFarlane, and Mr. Stevie Clifford. Welcome, Stevie. We've just watched Rangers win the Glasgow Cup. It was a very, very entertaining game, 3-2 win, topped off by a truly fantastic moment with Zach Lovelace finishing the game with 3 minutes to go. So it put the game beyond doubt. Rangers were under a little bit of pressure after that, couple of moments, but got over the line and lifted the cup, which, as Mason Munn just said in his interview, that's what it's all about, Rangers winning these games. Stevie, overall, what was your reaction to the game and the overall performance?
I thought that Davy McFarlane manager summed it up. There was good moments, there was good spells, but you're playing a Celtic side that are strong, that have played, UEFA Champions League youth level this year and done pretty well. I think they've managed to get a few wins under there. Boy Cummings up front, who's a very dangerous player, who's got I think 25 goals now this season. So they're a good outfit, as you would expect, and they had to at times, Rangers, dig in and find other ways. I watched the B team this year. They beat Clyde, they beat Stenhousemuir, and they played some, as to quote Philip Clement, some sexy football. And it's fast, it's free flowing, it's attacking, there's lots of pace. But tonight it was a different kind of challenge, and at times you had to defend. There was some clearances by Robbie Fraser, Leon King, that were not last ditch, but they were good defensive moments. And it's different ways to win games. And what I liked about Davey saying, at half time the players weren't happy because they know the levels they can get to. And in fairness, I've seen them play some really good stuff this year. But that was interesting tonight because it was a different kind of performance, and that's what I liked about it, because you need to find ways to win. And, getting that mentality and winning throughout is vitally important, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that with the first team every single week. One of the things that I would say was it was a fairly seesaw encounter, wasn't it? There was neither team really dominated. It was spells. So Rangers looked good, Celtic came back into it, they looked good, then Rangers took the momentum again. It was a really entertaining game in that regard. But there was a number of sort of standout performances I just want to touch base with you on. First of all, your man of the match, my man of the match, Robbie Fraser, who I thought a left back looks like a guy that has got to a level where he's going to have to get some more first team minutes as this season goes on and into next season, because there's something there.
I think there is something there. I think it's difficult for Robbie at the moment because he's at a level where he's above this one but maybe not quite ready for the first team, and I think the manager will see that and maybe understand that. He's got some minutes this season, which has been good, which has been encouraging, but he had an excellent clearance at the back post in the first half, which prevented a clear opportunity, and right at the death he had an outstanding header, which he's the striker's got the rushing kind of momentum. He's back and he's managed to get up there and clear it, and he's not the tallest, Johnny. Obviously he's taller than me, but he's not the tallest of boys, but he was excellent tonight. And at half time, coming in the second half, he was a big part of the reason that Rangers began to drive on. Got the cross in, which was a lovely ball in the left hand side, which the goalie then cleared out, and Cole McKinnon subsequently put in for Rangers to go 2-1 up again. But Robbie, definitely, I thought Leon King had a good game. Leon King's interesting as a defender, as a centre half, because he's a bit like a John Souttar type in terms of he's a very good last ditch, and he's another one who I think is too good for this level but hasn't got quite ready to be our first half or our first team centre half.
He looks to me
another one that needs to go out, I think.
He looks to me that he needs a season under McInnes, at Kilmarnock. That kind of
like Lewis Mayo, perhaps.
Exactly. Put him into the furnace and let's see how he performs with a manager that's going to be hard on him, demand from him, and not the demands that you'll get at Rangers playing week in, week out, but just that first team football, consistent playing with men situation. Because as you say, he's terrific on the ball. He's very calm. But you always maybe wonder about him when he's in a siege situation where balls are flying into the box. And I think he just needs the experience of that to come out the other side of it. I think the problem with Leon King, I think there's a player there, and I think if Rangers don't find that kind of solution that allows him to go and do that, he could be another McCrory. He could go to another club and then move on for a decent fee or whatever, because there's talent there. It's just where he plays. I mean, we were discussing it during the game. Is he a central defensive midfielder? Is he a centre back? Is he a right back? That was your take, wasn't it? You think he'd be more comfortable there. So, but he was good during the game. The other guy that stood out to me is Ncio, or
Paul Ncio.
Ncio, yeah. I thought Paul was. he's got a lovely touch. He moves well. You talked about him being a sort of street footballer, and he's got that bit of magic and that swagger about him that stands out at this level, doesn't it? They're all good technical players, but he was maybe a level above just good technical player. He's got real quality and stardust with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, he's another one, I think, that in the next year or so Rangers would be looking to see if there's a championship side where he could go out on at Steinhousemuir. Sean and I were both at that game and said that he was by far the standout man of the match, and he was. And I think there again tonight, a lot of good touches. He's got a style about him where sometimes you think that he's going to lose the ball, and he manages just to recover it. Tonight wasn't as good as I've seen Pulsating, but he did the other side of it where he's closing down a lot, and Celtic put a man on him, which I think is telling of what they thought of him. The other player that people will ask about is Bailey Rice. Definitely a talented kid. He's somebody I think's got another year at this level, and he's had injuries a lot, so you can see that he's, in my opinion, not quite ready for the first team yet, but there's talent there. Jonny, he's got a left foot. He's almost got a calmness on the ball where he just, he can lift his head and look about, and there's definite promise throughout that B team. What level they're going to make it at is questionable, but there's boys there that will make a good living out of football. Mason Munn again, recently signed a 4-year deal for Rangers. You've seen moments tonight where he had, a couple of crosses where he was a bit, under pressure with and stuff like that. But he's a boy of major maturity. He's in and amongst the first team. He's going to be a Rangers goalkeeper in the future at some point as well, hopefully. So there's lots there that you can be pleased with, I think, tonight. And the important thing is to go and win. Spread a wee bit of positivity throughout the academy and things like that, and the manager's here watching, which is great. Mason Munn referenced it in his interview afterwards that there is a pathway and he is keen to use the academy, so that's promising.
And let's just chat for a moment about the first half, because we had two first team players in Oscar Cortez, Rabi Matondo, both coming back from injury. Now, I thought Matondo had a couple of nice touches, but I think overall probably didn't have the most effective game in terms of the actual impact. Cortez, though, let's talk about his good moment. Brilliant bit of pressing, sets up the first goal for Ncio. It's a really, really aggressive bit of play to chase down the keeper Rice for Celtic. He nicks the ball off him, and then delicious cross that Ncio can only put it straight in the back of the net. Nowhere else to go, is there?
The best moment about that was, for me, and you would expect it for a guy that we're paying, millions of pounds for, is that when he does close down and win the ball, he just lifts his head. Yeah. Who's coming in? How can I affect this to the best possible way? And then he just plays it with the right speed, so all that Paul Ncio has to do when he's coming in on it is just direct it, and it's already got the pace on it, so he just directs it in, and it's a lovely finish. I thought he had some nice touches. I thought he battled in a wee bit, but he's a long way away from being first team ready. And if you consider now, look at Nico Raskin as an example. We're now in November, December territory before we started seeing Nico Raskin, and I think that you are hopeful of Oscar Cortez having a good run at it, because we need him to stay fit, Jonny, but you're almost writing off 2 or 3 months while he gets up to complete speed before we can count on him being properly up to speed in first team. And it's maybe a wee lesson for us all in terms of not making snap judgments, because he's going to take a while. Rabi Matondo, we know, frustrates the life out of you and then produces a moment where he bends it in the top corner like he did last year. Needs to stay fit, needs to prove that he's durable enough for the first team. He is too expensive not to be affecting our first team, Jonny, and that's the God's honest truth. So we either find a solution or we have to do something with that. But both of them were fighting. They were understated. They're never going to play in a B game. I remember watching Giannis and Danilo up at Steinhousemuir as well, and they were fine. They're never going to come and give the same energy levels that the youth boys do, because they've got something to prove. Whereas the first team boys, it's all about fitness. And they're not going to injure themselves in a game like this. So yeah, it's a good exercise. Wee flashes, wee bits and pieces, nothing overly, kind of outstanding. But for us, it's 245 minutes in the bank for us in terms of their fitness return.
Just last thing on Cortez, I suppose one of the things that Clement will be looking for is for Rangers to continue the kind of attacking form that they've had in the last few games. That kind of threat in the final third, which might just allow the manager to go and say to Cortez, right, go and have the last half an hour, this game's tied up. We can rest some of these players and put a guy like Cortez on, allow him to get minutes, allow him to get tested, allow him to get used to the Scottish League, because that's another thing. The guy's, I don't know how many games he's played off the top of my head, Steve. He can't be more than 8 first team games for Rangers. You know, he's still getting used to this country and the way we play football and the level of tackling intensity that goes on here. And you want to be able to ease players in, but for too long I think Rangers have been easing past teams 1-0 and 2-1 and
up until the last few weeks.
Up until the last few weeks. So I think that may accelerate. You're talking about a longer period. If Rangers are continuing that level of form where they're scoring goals and they're putting teams away early, I think that may be a way he could get in quicker.
Yeah, I would expect. Look, I expect him to get game time quicker. But I mean, in terms of, do we really see? I'm just trying to lower the expectations slightly in terms of having learned lessons about Nico Raskin and how long it took him, etc. I think that you have to allow Oscar Cortez time. I do agree with you. If we can get him game time and if we can, introduce him into games that are won, then he's definitely an option. Of course he is on the left-hand side. And I think I agree with Joshua. Joshua made a really good comment after the Cup final on Sunday that Rangers are too erratic in the final third. Yeah. And they absolutely are. It needs a wee bit of poise. It needs a wee bit of quality. And we're relying, I think, on somebody providing that. Do we have the money in January to go and influence that? Do we have to swap things about? Do we, maybe one or two have to leave? I think possibly, but Oscar Cortez will get game time, that's for sure. But let's give him a wee bit of time before he gets up to speed. We shouldn't be thinking, people watching tonight, 45 minutes, get him in the team on Saturday. That's not quite that level.
Yeah, definitely agree with that, Stevie. Right, okay, we're going to call it a day there. Thanks for watching, guys. We're getting thrown out anyway. The lights are about to go out. But thanks very much for watching, and you can catch up with the morning briefing again tomorrow. I think Stevie's on Thursday this week. Yep. You know where to watch. You know when to watch when Mr. Clifford's on. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll catch up with you soon.